this video, let me show you how you can have a couple without a child in the complete family tree using D3.js. So I have already added 3 videos in this channel on how to create a complete family tree using D3.js. So in the comment box, somebody asked how we can have a couple without a child. Here all the couples are having child elements. Sarah and James are having Rose and Angel. Kevin and Emma are having Sarah and Aaron. John and Isabella is having a child Anne. So here there is no couple without a child. So a question was asked on how to have a couple without a child. So let's see how to do that. In D3, as the links and descendants are created based on the child details, when there is no child, no link is made. That is why if you just try to add a couple without a child, there will be no connection line between husband and wife. To illustrate that, let me just remove Tom from the data. So here this is the code, and if I try to remove this child and remove this comma as well, now let me save this and refresh this. See, there is no connecting line between Hannah and Williams because links and descendant details are generated using the child details. As you could see here, the ID function return d.child and parent ID. Based on this information, actually the descendants details and the links details are generated. So if there is no child, there will be no link or there will be no line connecting the husband and wife. So what we need to do is that, let me just paste it as itself. Now let me save this and show you the output once again. Now there is a connecting line. So suppose we want to have Hannah and Williams without a child element. What we can do is that, first let us try to have a child element with value null and parent as before. That is, we are specifying a child element without any specific value but having the parent. You can have the parent as Hannah or Williams. Here we have added it as Hannah. Let it be that itself. But instead of Tom, let me just specify the value as null. Okay. Now let me save this. Now what will happen? There will be an empty rectangle. Let me refresh. See, as there is no value, nothing is there inside this rectangle as text, but that rectangle is there as before. So now we need to modify the code. What we need to do? We have to remove this rectangle and also this connecting line. So first, to remove this rectangle, if you have already watched this complete family tree videos, you could have noticed that when we add the spouse details, if the element is not having a spouse, we are hiding that rectangle. So similarly, we can hide this rectangle if the value is null. So what I am trying to do is that here you could see, in case of spouse rectangles, if the d.data.spouse is undefined, then we are returning true. That is, we are setting the class name hide, and here we are modifying the class name hide by setting its visibility to hidden. So similarly, we can do the same for the child elements, that is for the rectangles. Here we are adding the child elements or the rectangles with this code, right? So after this, what we can do? We can just copy this code, class hide, okay? And let me paste it here. And instead of d.data.spouse, it should be d.data.child. That is, if the child is undefined, then we are returning true, which means its visibility will be set as hidden in the CSS section. Now let me save this and let me refresh. See, now that rectangle is hidden. Next, what we need to do, we don't want this connecting line. That is, this line is required to connect the husband and wife. That is, to link the husband and wife. But this line should not be there. So we are using 2 connections to have these lines. Suppose I remove this connections 2 and see the output. This small line is removed. That is, connection 2 is to draw the line between this point to this point. Okay. And connection 1 is actually drawing this part. Let me show you that as well. Let me paste it and let me remove the code for connections 1. So let me cut it and save this and check the output. See, this part is gone. So what we have to actually remove, this line should be there, but the vertical part and also the connecting part should not be there. So we can modify the code accordingly. Let me first paste it. Now the whole lines will be there, as you could see here. So what we can do is that we can actually hide connection 1 completely, and for connection 2 we can draw from here till here. Actually we are drawing from the center till the center of this. So we can extend the line till this instead of till this. So first let us hide connection 1 if the child element is null. So here for connection 1, after this, let me copy this code, that is for rectangles we have added this. So let me copy this. Here there is an extra semicolon, let me remove that. And here for connection 1, after this let me paste the code, again remove this. But here we will not get the value of child by just specifying d.data.child, because here we are having the values inside source and target. So here we need to specify d.target.data.child. Here we could get it directly using data.child, but here we need to fetch it from target.data.child. So if it is undefined, we need to return true, that is the whole connection 1 will be hidden, otherwise it will be false. Now let us see what happens. Let me refresh. See, the whole line has gone. Here why it is not getting hidden? Because the child value is not null. In case the value of the child is null, we are removing the whole connection. Next what we need to do, this line should be extended till this. Actually it starts from here, from the center of the rectangle. So it should be extended till the center of this rectangle. Actually all these lines are starting from the center, but as we are writing the code for the rectangles, after adding these connections, we are not able to see it properly. That is, those lines inside the rectangles are being overwritten. If you want to see that, let me just remove this rectangle section and refresh. See, you could see that it is actually starting from here. If you also remove the spouse rectangles, it will be more clear, I think. Refresh. See, actually these connecting lines are starting from the center of the rectangle. So when we remove this connection 1, if the child element is null or undefined, it is removing this line from here till here and also the vertical line. Next what we need to do for this one, that is if the child element is null, this line should not be dead here, it should be up to the center of this rectangle. So how we can do that? Let me first have the rectangles for the spouse and also for the child. Now let me save this. Let me refresh. Now the lines are here and also the rectangles, but the lines inside the rectangles are overwritten, right? How? Because we are drawing the connecting lines first and then the rectangles. So those connecting lines inside the rectangles are actually overwritten. We are not able to see that. But in the case if there is no child, we need to have this line till this. So how we can do that? Inside the connecting line 2, that is here, we need to make a check. If d.target.data.child equals null, we need to have the extended part. In the else, we can have the same code, right? That is this code itself. Now we need to modify this code for the null child. So let me copy this and paste it and change. What we need to change actually, instead of starting it from d.source.x plus 40, it should start from source.x. And here instead of drawing a horizontal line with length 40, it should be length 80, because this length is 20 and this length is also 20. That is the part inside the rectangle. So total it should be 40. So already we are having a line of length 40. That should be changed to 40 plus 40, which is 80. Now let me save this. Let me refresh. See, the connecting line is drawn. So here Hannah and Williams are not actually having a child, but we are drawing a connecting line. So for that what we have done, we have first added a child with value null and parent as Hannah or Williams. And after that, we have first hidden the rectangle if the value is null. That is, for d.data.child, if its value is undefined or null, we are returning true, which means we are setting a class named hide, and for that particular class, we are setting the visibility to hidden. We have done the same for the spouse rectangle here. And after that, we are modifying the connection 1 and 2. We are hiding the connection 1 completely and modifying the connection 2 to accommodate the extended part. So like this, we can have a couple without a child in the complete family tree, which we have visualized using D3.js.